Okay. We are ready for another mentor session. And I'm going to move this over to my other screen here so I can read the questions. And let's just jump off and get this thing going. Since it's a Sunday, tomorrow, those of you that are receiving an answer to your question, you will get an email from Honey, my virtual assistant in the Philippines, who's doing an amazing job. She will send you an email with my answer and the YouTube link to the answer. And then she'll also let you know what other mentors are going to answer your question. Let's get this thing kicked off with a first question from Sam. Sam asks, can I register an LLC and offer different brands under it? The background is, in e-commerce, can I register an LLC, for example, X, and sell different products like Jack and Jane under it? How do I associate them with the LLC, and does the website address matter if it's under Jack or Jane rather than X? I think I understand this question, and the answer is yes. However, sometimes it is great to have different brands with their own LLC. Joel would be a good one to answer this. However, your question and your background isn't really giving enough information to truly understand the real question that you're answering. Because, for example, think of a cosmetic company like L'Oreal. L'Oreal has hundreds of different brands of skincare under the L'Oreal brand name. So if you go to L'Oreal.com, you're going to see lots of different brands under that name, right, on that website. If you go to Gucci is going to have a lot of different product lines within the Gucci brand, and they might even have some that are different brands other than Gucci. I don't know. But just think about fashion. Think about like Nike. Nike has the Air Jordan brand. They've got all kinds of different brands underneath the Nike umbrella, right? Think of BMW. BMW has different brands under the BMW name. The way that you account for these things is that you set up in what's called your chart of accounts in QuickBooks, which is a great software to use for your financials. In QuickBooks, you will associate every different product that you sell will have its own different product ID. Sometimes, depending on the business, it might have what's called a SKU. And when that product is purchased, it will automatically be coded with that SKU or product ID number and accounted for in your financial statements directly in QuickBooks. That way you'll know exactly how many of that particular product that will still fall under the LLC in which the business operates. Oftentimes we will look to create other LLCs or businesses for different brands just in case we might want to have that as a standalone company that might sell, and you want to keep another company that you might keep or sell, and they're two different types of companies. Joel would be a good one, Sam. You might want to submit another question and really be specifically that Joel would be able to answer this, which is because Joel has like 16 different brands or more. And I don't know if he has those set up as other LLCs, but I would try to frame your question of what would be the importance of establishing different or unique LLCs for specific brands or products that you market and sell. I don't know if Joel has it all under one LLC or multiple, but that would be a good question if there's a reason that you want to know that. But give a little bit more explanation of why you're asking that, unless my answer was enough for you. But yes, you can do this and just register it in your QuickBooks as far as product ID and SKUs. Hope that helps. Next question comes from Stephen Davis, and Stephen says, look forward to seeing you next month, Stephen. Stephen Davis says, I came across an article about performance coaching. After doing a little research, it seems to be a new type of coaching. Have you ever dealt with a performance coach? What does it actually involve? How does it differ to what our current coaches offer? Thanks. The background is SUD Consulting is a consulting company that offers third-party HR services to organizations. This includes, but not limited to, payroll, benefits, HR support, and workers' compensation. In your background, I would also include exactly what kind of organizations you want to do business with, Stephen. That would help in your elevator pitch. And then as a note, in the first field of asking a question, please just ask your question. You made a statement in the very first sentence. I came across an article about performance coaching. In the first field, just ask the question. So you might say, have you ever dealt with a performance coach? And then go to the background with the rest of your information. This will help when we archive your question. But as far as performance coach, personally, I've never had a performance coach. I think that Jerry might do some performance coaching, and I think that Tom might do some performance coaching. I don't know what would distinguish the difference between a performance coach or a leadership coach or an executive coach or a personal coach. I don't know the differences and nuances between the different signifiers of what they would call themselves. When it comes to coaching, generally speaking, we are having a challenge in our life in which we want someone to help us obtain knowledge and be able to become better at something we might be weak at. And we might hire someone who has been trained by some sort of coaching certification, because coaching really involves really learning and developing a system in order to be a coach. Like Tom Black, our sales coach mentor, he has a system in which he has utilized within his own companies and in coaching other companies. It's a true system of taking somebody from here to here, from A to B, from A to D, whatever it might be. Myself, I know how to coach somebody in the art of goal setting because I've created a goal setting system, not only for myself, but to be able to help other people learn how to set and achieve goals. And so I think each individual coach should have a system and process of exactly how they're going to help somebody increase their strength in a certain area and be able to walk them through that system with a playbook. So I don't have any experience necessarily with performance coach, but that might be very similar to a leadership coach, an executive coach, a sales coach, an operational coach. You're really just going to be looking for what performance you're looking to do. So a fitness coach could also be a performance coach because I want to be able to perform better, which means I want better energy levels, or I want to know what dietary intake, what kind of supplements, what kind of strength training. So there's a lot of different things. So I hope that answers your question. But our current coaches, Tom Black, Dan Abate, Joel Gandera, myself, Peter Casadoy, all of us have a unique niche in which we are trained to help coach somebody through a certain process. But I don't think anybody's a performance coach or calls it being a performance coach. Hope that makes sense. Okay? Hope that answers your question. Okay, the next question comes from Liv Gruber. And Liv says, how do you pay yourself from your business? The background is, I'm going to start paying myself and I want to know the best way to do so. Should I be a W-2 employee, 1099 contractor, or is there another strategy? Are companies an LLC? Well, ideally, so that you can start building up your tax return, if you will, I want to say. W-2 is the best because then the company can be paying some of your Social Security and Medicare. A W-2 employee would be able to participate in any type of employee benefit programs that you create for the company. It would be able to participate in any retirement plans that you put together as a company. So W-2 has a lot of advantages. If you set yourself up as a 1099, you're going to pay more self-employment taxes. And the company can help you with that by offering you a higher contracting wage to help pay for those higher taxes that you're going to pay as an individual. But they could also just do that as setting you up as a W-2 employee. What I usually recommend in the beginning stages of a company, what a lot of people do is they start themselves off at a small salary just to get some W-2 income going, which will help when you need to go buy a house or get a loan for a car or things like that. The credit agencies and people that you're going to be borrowing from, they love W-2 income, the stability of it, if you will, unless you've got 2 to 3 years of self-employment income that you can substantiate. Stop saying Shawn. What usually we do is we start paying ourselves a small salary that we know that the company can commit to on a monthly basis. And then if there's extra money, we might do a bonus every month or a bonus every quarter or a bonus at the end of the year, and then still have that W-2 income. That's kind of the greatest place to get to, is where the company can be stable enough to pay a set amount every single month. The difference between W-2 and 1099 is who's going to pay the tax. If the company can't pay additional to pay the tax, then 1099 might work best for the company, but you as an individual, you're going to be paying more in tax, and that's a bummer. So those are the things to take into consideration when you're thinking about paying yourself out of the company. Okay? Hope that helps. Michelle is our next question, and she says, what are the most important pieces that you must have implemented in your business before making your first hire? Is a company handbook needed before the first hire? What else would be necessary? The background is I own a holiday, wedding, and event lighting company. I'm looking to hire another person to help install lights at our client's home or business. I want to make sure we have everything in place before making the first hire. Well, ideally, if it's a W-2 employee, it makes sense and helps to have an employee handbook. But the bottom line is many startup entrepreneurs just wing it in the beginning days and don't pay attention to getting employee handbooks and branding and core values and all that type of stuff, until the company advances farther. But ideally, in an ideal situation, it would be great to have a complete training program established with video training, a book with the words of how to train someone how to do the job so that they can go back to that training. Online is becoming the way that a lot of companies are documenting their processes for training. I recommend a company called Trainual, Trainual. Use code AO10, the number 10, for a 10% discount on their subscription. It's like $100 a month. I use it. I used it to train my assistant. I love it. It's so easy to use. I document processes both in writing and in video using screen capture software like Loom, Loom. The more I can do to set up the new team member for success by having a great training program and really working with them the first few weeks one-on-one to make sure they're trained properly, the better. You don't necessarily have to have a handbook, even though it's nice. It just depends. It sounds like you might be doing a 1099 contract worker though, Michelle, and for that you wouldn't need an employee handbook. You would want to have some training so you can tell them how you want things done, and you'll want to have a 1099 contract agreement really laid out that they are a contractor, they're not an employee, you're not going to hold out taxes, and it's really challenging depending on the state of what hours how you can dictate when they do the work, how they do the work. I would really recommend that if you're going to go 1099 that you talk to an HR person to be very specific that particular role fits the 1099 role, or is it truly an employee? And what's her name? Marcia would be a good person to talk to about that. I would recommend hiring her for an hour or a consultation call, if she would even charge you, I don't know, and getting some good advice around that. Okay? Hope that helps. Next question comes from Ashley. And Ashley says, any advice on developing a product line? Background, I own a cleaning company and had an opportunity to create eco-friendly cleaning products. I have no idea what to expect or what to plan for, looking for generic advice. Okay, advice, since you're asking, don't do it. Owning a cleaning company doesn't mean that I need to go out and become a cleaning supply manufacturer of my own product line. I like wine. That doesn't mean I need to go learn how to grow my own wine. I like driving cars, but that doesn't mean that I needed to learn how to go manufacture my own car. Creating a new business in order to take advantage of your existing business, those are great ways to grow. However, you would want your initial foundational business, your cleaning business, to be a minimum of a 7-8 figure business that has a complete team, managers, great depth of your team, so that you could spend a lot of time, which it will take, on researching all the different chemicals and things that go into creating cleaning products, all of the branding that it would take to develop a cleaning product line, and that would be its own separate company that you would go out and sell those cleaning products to other cleaning companies and compete against those big companies that have cleaning products and supplies. So my advice would be to don't do it until you're doing at least $10 million in your own business, maybe $5 million. But until you have so much money and so much flexibility of time that you could devote to doing it. It's okay to partner with another company and resell or use their products, but that is a completely different business, one in which is insanely competitive. I would highly recommend not doing it. That's my advice. Now, the advice, if you wanted to do it and said, screw you, Shawn, I'm going to do it anyway, well, then go get started. Like if I want to create a new cookie line, then I'm going to go evaluate all the different types of flour, which there are dozens of types of flour out there in the world, and I'm going to research which one I want to use for my cookie. I'm going to research what kind of eggs I'm going to use. Is it cage-free, organic, free-range, generic, whatever it might be. I'm going to evaluate all the different types of sugar that are available. Organic versus pure cane versus honey versus agave versus artificial sweeteners. And I'm going to figure out what other ingredients are going to go into my cookie, and then I'm going to determine what ingredients are going to need it for shelf life, and I'm going to go down that rabbit hole to learn everything there is to know about all of the ingredients that go into making my cookie. Then I'm going to have to understand the industry as far as a manufacturing process. What are the manufacturing limitations and bandwidth for making the cookie the way that I want to make the cookie? Who are the companies that I can go to manufacture these cookies? Because I want to sell millions of cookies, not just a couple dozen that I would make in my home, right? So that's the same process you would take with figuring out how to make eco-friendly products. Is you would have to go evaluate every type of chemical that goes into, or non-chemical, organic, that goes into creating a cleaning supply, and what makes one good and one bad, and what makes something work over something that doesn't. What are all the different types of stain removers, whatever type of products you're going to do, bacterial cleaning, all those types of things. What's good for the skin, why not? You would want to truly become an expert chemist at your supplies, and that would be the road to go down. So I would listen to podcasts around consumer price goods that specialize in the cleaning product industry. I would look for companies that have blogs on how they created their companies, how these maybe smaller brands have created their companies of cleaning supply products. I'll bet if I Googled startup companies of cleaning supplies, there's a ton out there, and they are all out there trying to go on social media and do blogs and podcasts and interviews and things like that, YouTube, of how they created their company, and find out what they did and how they did it, and start learning from those companies that have already done it. That would be my advice. I hope that helps. All right, those of you watching in the room, can you leave a comment and just let me know that you can hear me? Because last time I was doing this, nobody could hear me. So leave a comment, make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, next question comes from Kimberly Vincent. And Kimberly says, what strategy or ideas would you recommend we do to have HR and team leaders send their employees to our clinic and our associate clinics on a regular basis once they have signed up for our corporate massage therapy program? Background is we have a new corporate massage program that targets mid-size and large companies. We help decrease soft tissue pain and stress of employees, creating improved productivity and happier employees. We connect companies with massage therapy clinics and maintain a fee for doing so. We also do virtual one-on-ones for employees and webinars for large teams to educate employees about stress and soft tissue prevention and treatment. Okay, I get the business description, but you really didn't explain the background of the question, Kimberly. So I'm gathering that the background of the question is that you don't really have a system or process set up yet from a communication perspective, that once you enroll a company to sign a contract with you to provide your services, now you need to understand how to create a communication package from the company to its employees. Now, generally speaking, some of the places that the companies will do this is in what's called payroll stuffers. So when people get their paycheck, there will be an insert in the envelope that will talk about the benefits. So you could do it as a payroll stuffer. It always looks better when the company promotes it as opposed to you promoting it, or if it's a partnership and then it's a joint communication coming from the company. If the companies pay by direct deposit and there is no paychecks envelope, you could also I'm sure that the company, if it's that size, has some sort of communication portal or some sort of newsletter that goes out to the employees, and I would want to become part of that process on an ongoing basis. I also might want to work with the HR department on how you can put together specialized materials and maybe even do group workshops within the company. Go out to the company for a couple weeks and do group training or group presentations on what new benefit is now available to those employees. You might want to also do some very, very professional, hiring a professional videography company to do professional trainings and presentations of what the employees get, and I would make that generic so that you could then slap a label of the logo, or maybe the very first video of the video series might be specific for that company, but you could always create a new video, which would be the first video of the video series for every company, so that it could be personalized for that company, but then the rest of the training is generic so that you can white label it basically for every company that you're going to do this for. But these are part of the programs. When I was in the insurance business, we used to have an annual enrollment period where employees could enroll in certain supplemental and ancillary benefits that the company endorsed. And sometimes they would pay a portion of the premium, and sometimes it would just come out pre-tax or maybe even post-tax out of their paycheck. And we would, for the month prior to the enrollment, we would come out there and do individual meetings with every employee to discuss all of the different offerings and help get them signed up. You know, if your income is derived by the amount of participation by the employees, then I want to be in front of those employees as much as possible and enroll as many and get as many employees using it. And so in that situation, I might have a dedicated account executive or wellness coach, if you will, that their responsibility is to work with unique or specific clients and accounts in order to increase enrollment and participation rates so that our company could benefit more and make more money. So those are things that I would take a look at doing. I hope that helps. Okay, and the next question comes from Anisa. And Anisa says, how can I add value to someone of high caliber? The background is real life example. I'm going to see Sharon Lecter next month, and we will bond, and she will provide lots of value to me, and I would like to do the same for her, but don't know how to add value to her life. I'm a financial coach. Okay, I love the fact that you're asking this question, Anisa. So let me tell you how you are providing value to Sharon, and you might not realize it. One is you're paying her. You're paying to come to Nashville next month. Can't wait to see you. And that provides value to her. You are substantiating that people value her enough that they will pay for her time to come and learn from her. And that is one of the best values that you can provide to a person that is high caliber, okay, is to pay them for their time. The next is, another way that you can pay her is to refer people to hire her, to pay her for her time. That's another way. The next way would be to purchase whatever courses or programs she has available. And that's another way to provide value to her. The next way would be to refer people to buy her books and her courses. The next way would be to, let's think about this, to actually implement the tools and the knowledge that you're going to learn from her in order to help you become more successful in your own life, and attribute a portion of that growth and success to Sharon in the form of a testimonial or a review, so that other people will see what it has done for you, and they might choose to use Sharon to help them. The next thing is, and this would be the last point I'm going to make, is to ask Sharon what you could do. Or you could find out what hobbies Sharon likes. Like, Sharon likes wine, so I'm sure if you sent her a nice bottle of wine, she would love it. And that would be a way to add value to her life. So ask her, what could I do to provide value to you? And that's kind of a generic thing. And what I tell you is, most successful people, it really makes them and us, I'm going to put myself in that category, it makes us uncomfortable when someone says, how can I add value to you? Because most of us are pretty humble, and we're just going to say, I'm good. I just hope that you're getting a lot out of this, and I hope that you learn from it, and I hope that I can help you, and that's the best thing that you could do to provide value. That's generally speaking how most successful people are going to answer it. But the best way for someone to add value to my life is to refer more people to AO, to become more successful and attribute some of that success to AO and the learnings that I've helped them with. As far as a thank you gift, I love wine. I love when packages of cash just show up at my door. That's never happened, but that would be really, really cool. And just showing general, sincere appreciation for the relationship. A lot of times that's what it's really about, is the relationships. And when we feel that someone really appreciates the relationship, and it's shown by liking my Instagram posts, by commenting, by recommending me to other people, those are ways to really pay it forward. Okay? I hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Carrington. And Carrington says, when it comes to sales, are there any tips, techniques, or selling systems or steps that help you learn to be better / smoother with it? The background is, I'm a commercial product photographer who helps product-based companies at any stage manage their photography needs for e-commerce, marketing, social media, etc. I feel like I am very choppy on the initial sales side and want to learn more to make it more fluid, to ideally be more successful in the long run. Okay, so in our AO portal, there is an 11-hour sales training system called Pro Code Sales. Go through all of that. And what you're going to learn within that sales system that Tom Black teaches, and that system is worth $1,000. Tom generously donates it to AO members. And so don't take it lightly that training is there. That training has produced many, many millionaires. In that training, you're going to learn that it's very important for you to have a sales system, which includes scripts for your phone approach, or however you're going to approach someone in order to start to develop a relationship. And it's important to have a script that has been well rehearsed, so that when you speak it, it's going to sound like it's conversational, even though the words that you have chosen to speak have been well thought out in advance and rehearsed to make it conversational. This is the difference between a new salesperson without training and an experienced, mature salesperson with training, and it's the difference between somebody who's probably not making a lot of money and somebody who's making a lot of money. Things need to be rehearsed. Things need to be thought out. They need to be continually modified and tweaked on what's working and what's not working. Go through Pro Code Sales. Also in the AO portal, there's a resource center, and in the resource center, there's a category called Sales. Read all of those articles within Sales. Now, here's the only challenge, Carrington. You are, at some point, even though it's important for you to be good at sales, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the salesperson for your company. You're going to have to make a decision at some point to hire a salesperson or spend money on advertising and marketing, and then have someone to be an in-house salesperson to take those leads to convert them to clients at some point. Right now, you can do all of it, but the hope and the plan would be that you want to get enough business coming in that you can hire a salesperson so you can focus the majority of your time and attention on doing the work for your clients, eventually leading to you training other people to be able to do work for your clients, and then continue with hiring more salespeople, hiring more photographers, hiring more salespeople, hiring more photographers, hiring more administrative people to help you with the administrative things. So that's the process, okay? I hope that helps. Okay, next question comes from Carrington Crothers, and Carrington said, is guest posting a suitable way to market your business? The background is I'm a commercial product photographer where I provide companies with photography for e-commerce, marketing, social media, etc. I've been looking into marketing techniques and came across guest posting, which I had not heard of before. I wasn't sure if this is something that is worth trying and continuing to look into, or if there are alternative marketing strategies you suggest to broaden your audience. Listen, there's probably an infinite amount of marketing techniques and strategies you can use. So I won't go into all the different things that are available out there in the world, because you can buy advertising on a wide array of platforms, whether it be social media, television, radio, conferences, magazines, television, all that type of stuff in order to market your business. But as far as guest posting is concerned, yes, it is a viable marketing strategy that can work. Notice that I said can work. If you're going to do a guest post, what I have found that really works is doing an Instagram live, a joint Instagram live if you're talking about on social media. So maybe the person that has the audience and they want to provide their audience some expertise that you have. You guys would put together a pre-launch announcement for about maybe at least a week, which would be some posts and some videos promoting a webinar or a Zoom or an Instagram live that's going to be coming up, and that people can sign up on the email list. This is a good thing to do to get to sign up on the email list, because then you have their emails in which to market to them, if the person that's going to have you on as a guest can do. And then you guys do a post. So those are some great ways. You also can be a guest podcast host, where someone interviews you and talks about your expertise and why someone would need professional services like yours, and that builds you up as an expert. The people listening in the audience, it might evoke emotion in somebody that says, oh my gosh, I need somebody like Carrington, and then they do business with you. That is part of marketing, and it does work. Guests, being a guest on a podcast, doing guests posts. If it is just, I'm going to put together a post and someone's going to post it on their Instagram account, unless that person is really, really influential and they're really positioning you that this is the person that you've got to go listen to or you've got to go follow, it usually doesn't carry much weight, and it's going to be a waste of time. But if it's a really strong influencer and they're saying, go follow my friend Carrington and her Instagram account or her Facebook account or her Twitter account or whatever, because she has amazing stuff, that can be beneficial if your social media profile is on point. And when somebody comes to your page is so phenomenal and sticky that the person comes and stays. and starts learning from you and wants to hire from you. Remember, social media marketing is just that, marketing. Too many people post on social media just for the sake of posting. There's no strategy to try to get clients. And so it's really important to create a really strong marketing program around your social media that builds relationship and trust within your social media profile. And that's the bare minimum, lowest level, but you're consistently doing posts and doing things that get people into your sales funnel, whether it be setting up a call, downloading a lead magnet to get you into an email list, whatever it might be. Okay? Long answer, but I hope that helps. Okay, and the last question comes from Kristen Lattis, and Kristen says, what do you do when a client has not paid the remaining balance from a project completed over 2 months ago? The background is I'm a copywriter for online entrepreneurs. I completed website copy for a client. She paid 50% upfront, but has not paid the last 50%. She does not answer any DMs or emails. Yuck. I don't like people like that. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do as far as getting money. Suing somebody like that probably won't work because they probably don't have the money. That's why they're not paying you. So there's some things you can do in your contract that says this is copyrighted work. You cannot use this work, and I'm not even going to give it to you until you pay me. So, for instance, if they are hiring you to do copy for their website, maybe you would show them the copy on a Zoom and walk them through it, but they can't actually use it and have it until they pay you. Like, I know that's going so far and probably isn't the answer because it's really difficult to do that because people want to look at it and edit it and so forth. But the challenge is in that world, once you give somebody the words, even though you still own them until they pay you, what is the process for you to get paid? You could sue them, probably not going to get any money, and it's going to cost you time and money to do it. You could leave some bad reviews on their website that you are owed money. Challenge is proving it, in the public eye. So sometimes people don't pay their bills, and you just have to call it a wash. One of the things that I like to do is I like to get credit cards and I like to get contracts. I don't do that with AO because this business isn't set up to really have to worry about stuff like that. But in my last business, if they didn't pay, we just turned off their services. The challenge with your business is it's difficult to do that. So a lot of your business is going to be built on trust. And even if you have a contract, sometimes you're not going to get paid. This is just part of doing business. But can you get a credit card? Can you get prepaid authorization form for their checking account? I don't know what the capabilities are in Canada. What are some other things you could do? You could require full payment, but in this situation, you're probably not going to get paid. And just call it a wash. It's unfortunate. This is part of doing business. It sucks. But what I always say is I'm just going to go out there and do some more sales and make up for it. At least I got 50%. And I'm going to move on. And I'm going to just chalk it up to a learning lesson. I'm going to look at what are some things that I could have done in this situation. Were there any red flags? When I was working with this client, did they give me any red flags that maybe they were struggling on money? So those are some things to think about. But generally speaking, when somebody doesn't want to pay you, they're just not going to pay you. It doesn't matter what happens. And it sucks. And it's part of business. Okay, so I hope that helps. Lots of great questions on this mentor session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some value. And I look forward to seeing you on the next mentor session, which hopefully will be next week. All right, keep those questions coming. And I will see you soon. Peace out.